Go ahead and take a look at the page you are coloring, okay? When authors plan a story, they decide who the characters will be. Characters are the people or animals the story is about. Why are characters important to a story? Peyton.
Because it gives my love.
Yeah, there has to be characters in the book for anything to happen. Otherwise, what would the book be about?
Boring.
Yeah. I know. Authors use words and illustrations to help readers understand what characters are like on the outside and on the inside. Personality or internal traits are more difficult to notice. Look at dialogue or words that explain how the character speaks to learn about personality. Okay, so as I'm reading this book called Violet the Pilot, I want you to think about characters in two different ways. I want you to think about the external traits, okay? What they look like, what their hair color is, what their hair length is, what their clothing might look like, what their height might be, facial expressions and actions, what do they look like? I also want you to think about their internal traits, okay? What are they thinking about? What are they feeling? Okay? What might their personality be like? Can I get a thumbs up if you know what to do as I'm reading? Okay, you can continue to color and I'll do my best to show everybody the pages, okay? This is Violet the Pilot by Steve Breen. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an old-looking house next to the junkyard her father managed. And while other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle-nose pliers. Violet was a mechanical genius. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. Since she didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy the time she put a lawnmower engine in her cousin's tricycle. Could you imagine getting on your tricycle and there's a lawnmower engine and you're just like, woo! The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate machines from scratch. And not just any old machines, flying machines.
Whoa, what?
Go ahead and sit down. Good job, it looks great. Yeah. Flying machines! Her parents couldn't believe their eyes when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time. They were a little worried in the beginning, but they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. Careful not to hit that house, Violet's father would yell. And put on a sweater, her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions.
She probably has the funnest life in the whole wide world.
She probably does. There was the tub bubbler. It's a tub. The bicycopter. The rocket can. The pogo plane. The wingamajig. To name a few.
What's a wingamajig?
Wingamajig.
How was that?
Voice of second graders. Violet's engineering was pretty sound. The only real hazards were tall trees and piles of junk in the yard. Oh, and bugs in her teeth. Blech. Gross.
Bugs in her teeth? Let me see. Oh.
Bugs in her teeth.
Let me see.
Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy coveralls. Claude and Clyde Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window. Air Show, October 20th, it read. That's only 2 weeks away, Violet thought. Can kids fly in the show? Is homemade aircraft allowed? That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize, and maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. She and Orville spent the next few days combining the junkyard for just the right materials. When they had collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day, the Mulrooney twins happened to pass by. Look, it's that girl from school, one of them said. What are you doing, weirdo? I'm building an airplane, she told them. The twins exploded in laughter, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went back to her project. Take it easy, buddy, she said. We're too busy to worry about them. Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her flying machine. She named the magnificent new craft the Hornet. Wait till the people in Grandstand see me flying this, Violet said to Orville. The test flight was a success.
He fell out, then he got back in.
On the day of the big air show, Violet took off bursting with excitement. Her parents' face had beamed with pride when they wished her luck, and she thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated that the trip would take about 20 minutes. She would arrive just in time for the start of the show.
The boat. I'm not even close to being done. Well, I am. Excellent.
Very nice. All right, we're almost done. She's almost to the air show. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help, and fast.
What were by them?
It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted the Hornet with careful precision. Saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls was particularly dangerous. Violet dropped the grateful Scouts off at the hospital, and then she checked her watch. 3:30, she said to Orville sadly. We've missed the air show. She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. How do you think she felt? What's one of her vocab words? Allison. wistfully and blue. She felt blue. Reassemble was earlier, buddy. That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Somebody spotted her. "There's Violet!" the boy shouted jubilantly. My favorite word. "There's our hero!" The Van Winkles stepped outside, squinting from all the flash bulbs that were popping. The press, the mayor, the fire and police chiefs, even kids and teachers from school had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her. "Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor as a token of our gratitude and esteem," said the mayor, and he gave Orville a new collar with a license that said Canine Hero.
That's a dog.
From that day on, Violet's parents let her fly whenever she wanted, but her mom still made her wear a sweater. Oh, very good.
She's reading the newspaper when she's flying outside.
Oh, yeah.
Can I see? Wisconsin.
Okay.
Cowboy.
Okay, let's take a look at the character sheets that we're just coloring while we were reading.
I did the makeup.
Okay, let's think of some external character traits that Violet has. What was her hair color? What did she wear? What were her facial expressions or actions?
I made all the good jobs.
Yes, Allison.
She was happy, but also mad at him because he made fun of her.
Uh-huh.
But then at the end, they didn't because she learned how to fly because she wanted.
Maybe those are internal traits because she felt confident, right? What about external traits? What did she look like in the book? That's just from the scanner, buddy. Dane.
She looks like she would get there, but when she
All right, second graders, let's put our markers down. Markers down, and let's think about the external traits. Okay. Markers down, please. Peyton.
So she's about to go to the air show, but she saw what they were doing down there, and then at the end, the man called her a canine.
Okay, that's what